so far we saw all these things in theory. So I want to show this in practice now. So what we are going to see now is what is this. So basically, what we're going to see is we are going to create a virtual private cloud, uh, and we're going to create a public subnet, uh, and also we're going to create a private subnet, and we're going to create EC2 instance here, and then we're going to create a EC2 instance here. So basically, at the end of it, once you create this boundary, you can access this EC2 instance or internet. Um, if you ping to this IP, you can see you get a response. But whereas if you ping to the same VM that you created here, it's because it is created under a private subnet, so which means you can't access this via internet. So that is what we're going to see in this demo. The important concepts that you need to know before we get into the demo is this IP range. As I said, this is very important to know for this exam, for this demo purposes. That um, /16 for 10.0.0.0. So this is your IP. /16. I will tell what is this. This is called CADR rotation. I will tell what it is after the demo. But just keep that in mind that this is a by giving this, you're telling a range. So you're telling that uh, there are 65,000 IPs 65,000 some number IPs I can assign under this range. Like /16 means that, um, and
So
I'm splitting the
it's basically 32 minus that number. So 32 minus 16. So you have 2 power 16 combinations for the
exactly.
VPC. And if you see the /24, it is 32 minus 24. So that means the 2 power 8 combinations available for this subnet. Another 2 power 8 combination is there for that subnet. That's it.
Yeah. So which means in this range you can in this subnet you can assign uh, that those many EC2 instances, for example. So and everything can have one dedicated IP. Like for example, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, likewise. But there will be some instances which will be blocked. For example, 5 IP ranges will be blocked, uh, will be dedicated for by the AWS, which I will explain later. There are some exceptions to this, but which I will explain later. But yeah, just keep this in mind that we're creating a VPC first, and you're giving a range of your IPs, and then you're going to create a subnet, public subnet, and you're going to a private subnet, and you're going to get a range for this. And then you will associate a internet gateway to this public subnet, and then you'll create a EC2 VM. This time we're going to see a Linux VM. So Linux VM will be created here, and also same thing here. And you will try to access it via ping. You'll get the response, but here you will not get the response. So that is what you're going to see now. So with that, I'm moving to AWS console. Okay. So let me go to. Okay, it's already selected here. So I'm going to VPC. So the first step is that I'm going to create a VPC here. So go to and you can create a VPC by using Wizard, but this will make your life easier. But I'm not going through that. I'm going through the manual way of creating a VPC. Yeah. So your VPC is enter that create VPC. So I'm creating a custom VPC. I mean, just for you to, in case you want to follow this, I just created some notes for you, so maybe we can go through this. I will share you this after this demo as well. So, but I'm going to take some notes from here so that I don't have to type it. So I'm just taking notes here. Just it can be any name here. I'm just giving some my demo VPC, and as you saw in the PPT, so this is a 10.0. So I'm just creating this outer box now. So here I'm giving this range. Okay. So here you have option to select IPv4 and IPv6 also. Amazon provided IPv6, which means that Amazon is going to create an IPv6 IP CADR block. But for now, I'm okay to go with the IPv4. So I'm just clicking no. And here there are default. I want to go with this default. Create. So that's all. So I just create a outer box now. If you see this diagram, yeah. So this VPC is just created. So I created an outer box. This is what I created. Okay. So the next step is that under this VPC, I want to create an internet gateway because this internet gateway is something which I want to provide for given internet to this. So I'm going to create an internet gateway now. So essentially, internet gateway is what is helping you to create an internet, give the internet for you. So sorry, internet gateway. Give me any name. I'm just giving some name. Again, I just give. I'm using my underscore demo as a convention, but yeah, you can follow anything. It doesn't need to be this, but it can be anything. I just give IGWs for just to say internet gateway. Just create. So I created internet gateway as well. By default, if you see it is detached. So by default, it will be detached. You need to associate this gateway to the VPC that you created in previous step. So either I just take attach to VPC, and here I'm selecting the VPC that I created the previous step, and then attach. So my now my VPC is attached to this internet gateway. So which means now this I can access this network via internet. So that is the idea. Now I'm going to create a public subnet now. So this is where I'm going to create a public subnet. This box is what I'm going to create now. So go to subnet. I'm going to create a public subnet. So can be any name here. I'm just giving subnet. This can be just a tag. It can be any name. Just for our easy purposes, I'm going to create a public subnet and give this name as public. So I'm going to create a private subnet and give this name as private. So yeah, so VPC, I'm just going to create the same VPC that I created before. Availability zone. Here you can select what availability zones this VPC should be created under what availability zone. So if I don't have any preference, it will AWS will automatically assign to some availability zone. But for us, we don't have any preference. I just give no preference. But yeah, I can give some value also to this. So for example, these are the 6 availability zones under this Northern Virginia. USC is 1A, 1B, 1C. So yeah, for example. So here, this is the public subnet. I want to give this value as one here. Only that is the difference, and /24. That's the only difference compared to the broader VPC I create. So I'm planning to. I'm just telling it. Give this number. Create. So now this similarly, I'm going to create a private subnet as well. Here instead of 1, I'm giving 2. That's the only difference. Okay, so now 2 subnets are created. Now I'm going to create the root table. So this is where I was telling you the rules, right? This is where you define the rules. So now what now if you go here, I think when you create a subnet for VPC, go to the VPC. By default, it will create a root table. So or you can directly go here, root table section. Root tables. So from here also you can go. So you can see the same root table here. So yeah, but anyway, so what we're going to see is we also need 2 root tables, one for public and one for private. So I'm going to use the default that is created as let's take this as public, and similarly we'll create a one more for private. So what I will do is I will create a public root table RT. Just taking this. That's this. Yeah. And yeah. Yeah. select the default. Yeah. So we gave this name, and then similarly, I'm going to create another root table here. I'm just going to give a private RP. Okay. So we have one public root table and private root table. So now, so if we go back to this diagram, so we draw the we created first step, we created the outer box, and then we second VPC's public subnet and private subnet, we created these inner boxes, and inside that we created a roots as well. I will not depicted that in the diagram, but yeah, we created a root table also under that public subnet. So let's move on. So next is so far you also created an internet gateway if you remember. So yeah, I think we created the internet gateway. So we go here. So this is the internet gateway that we created. So but we just attached it to this. So now we need what we need to do is we need to uh, add this internet gateway to this public router. So that we created because root table is just created. So we need to attach this internet gateway because we are telling that only this public subnet only should have an internet gateway, right? So we need to make this link. We just created an internet gateway. We created a public subnet, but we have not linked with these two together. So that linking is what we're going to do now. So if you go to uh, public root table, yeah, in the root table we have something. If you just select this is where you have roots, and here is where you're going to tell the root. So here you should link these two guys. So I'm doing that linking here. So I'm creating a root here. So this is something which is automatically created. I'm going to create a new one, and here I'm going to tell, for example, I'm telling that this means all. I mean, all the resources can talk to internet gateway, and I'm saving it. So this is where we made that link.
So
Uh,
here, if you see the root tables, the first entry is the 10.0.0.0/16. That is a VPC range. So that is a target is local. That means anything under the VPC can talk to each other. That is what, and nobody can delete that thing. So this is one exam question. So every root table will have the entry called local. That means anybody can talk within that VPC. Yeah.
yeah. So basically, in this root table, as I said, like these are all just the rules. Okay, in terms of adding root is like a rule. Okay, so you're telling what is your destination and what is your target. So here in this target is what is important. You should tell what resource. So if you look at here, I think you just add another root. Here, these are the various resources where you can tell that these could be a target. So in our case, I selected internet gateway and then added the internet gateway that I created. So basically, it's nothing but the target is nothing but the various resources who can access this network. So that's what I'm telling. So, and I'm just closing this. Yeah. So, any questions here so far?
So in on-premise, whatever the firewall rules we have, that has been translated through one way here. There are other ways too, but this is one way of transferring your firewall rules.
Yeah. Right. So, but generally, if here you're telling a rule that all resources, when I say all resources, any IP, even your laptop or my laptop or anyone's laptop, can connect to this public. So that's the meaning. Or if you want to restrict, you don't want to give access to all, but you want to give access to specific IP, that also you can mention. That's why, yeah, here I use this because I want to access it from my laptop, and also someone else also can access the same thing. So because I want to create this as a private public one, so that's the reason I gave this value 0. Okay. Yeah.
One question.
Yeah.
this is like so Srini, this is like translating into firewall rules in your organization environments, right? But but there is a NAT gateway at a firewall range, right? Like so, usually you don't expose your internal IPs, right? Like your machine's IP is kind of something else to the outside world.
That's right.
How do you
Yeah.
know that here?
No, this is basically the for firewall rules. What we are this is following the software defined network (SDN), right?
Okay.
So so previously many things where you have to do the wiring to make things happen. Here, what we are letting them know is once you come to the public subnet, what are the things you could do? That's what we are defining here. Once you go to the private subnet, you're going to define similar routing table for that. So every subnet will define the corresponding subnet rules, the routing table. There is one catch though. I don't know whether I will confuse or not, but NAT gateway. See, internet gateway is simpler because it's just exposing to the internet. It's allowing people to go to the internet once you go to the machine, right? That's easy. Call basically you can use the call command. It will work for you. But the NAT gateway is slightly different. NAT gateway is nothing but we are saying the private subnet machines should not expose to internet, but still they need to want to expose to internet for getting the database upgrades or some blah blah blah. How it does it? It doesn't have an internet gateway attached to that subnet. We will create a NAT gateway on the public subnet. See, in the public subnet only, we will create a NAT gateway also. It's basically a tunneling. Internally, if you think about, even though you are trying to go to the internet, you are not directly going to the internet, you are restricting it. You are tunneling to the public subnet. From there, you are trying to get to the internet. So, all internally a firewall rules.
So you may be defining in this case more precisely what is the service call and where it port or anything else that it has to go.
Yeah, here you will see basically who all see which kind of an IP addresses are allowed. Basically, that level of control you could do in this. Right now, what Sham is doing is 0.0.0, which is open to everybody to start with. I want him to finish this thing because it's one of the very complex demo he is doing. But there are lots of corner cases we can discuss.
Yeah. Okay. So far, just to recap. So what we did is we created a VPC, and then we created a public subnet, private subnet, just the boundaries only, and then we create internet gateway also. And this is where just now the step that I showed is where we connected with public subnet. This internet gateway is connected to public subnet. So that is what this linking that we did now. So in the root table, you are telling the target as internet gateway, which means now this guy can access it over internet. So this is where I completed this step now. So this linking with this outer box is what I connected now. Okay. So far clear. Yeah, first time it will be tricky, but yeah, I think if you uh, revisit this video, you might understand it better. So yeah, we did that connection now. So then we should next step is to associate this public subnet to the public root table. So I think we create a root table, and then we associated root table to the internet gateway. But we haven't connected the root table to the subnet. So that is where you're going to create. So the subnet association is there. So in the subnet association, you do edit subnet, and here you're going to select which subnet. So this is a public RT. So I want to create associate it with the public subnet, and then save it. So far all we created is the independent boxes, but now the last two steps we are associating each. So in this, we are associated your root table to your subnet. Uh, so automatically, this internet, the rules that are defined here, the internet exposing this internet to this public subnet will be automatically assigned. So now this public subnet will, using this rule, it can get internet. Okay. So that is what we did in this step. Okay. So now the same thing we need to do for private as well. So, but private we don't want to create this internet gateway. So that's why we're not going to do that step. Sorry, I'm selecting it. This private route table. Here, I just want to keep it local. So I don't want to add this internet gateway because I don't want to expose internet to this route. So I'm not doing that step. But I want to do this step of associating this private to private subnet. So this is private route table. I want to associate it to the private subnet and then save. So this is where we created a firewall rule here. So this private subnet, what rules are there? Only this IP can access it. I mean, only this IP is this VPC IP. Only all the IPs under this range only can access this private. Um, but outside people can't access it. But whereas here, I'm telling outside also can access it because I added this rule 0.0. But whereas in private it's not there. So for clear. So now we created the rules also by creating the routes and where we associated this targets. And also we did a subnet associations as well. So these route associations and subnet associations are the important things from exam point of view. Uh, so there will be questions around generally if you want to expose it to public internet, what should be your destination? The answer is this 0.0.0. And your target is where you are going to tell what is your resource. Since you want internet, so you can use internet gateway. But there are other options also to select. We saw the drop-down values, right? So that is we'll explain later. Yeah, this linking is nothing but just a linking these two guys. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So we created all the boxes and we linked everything. Okay. So now comes the security rules. Okay. So far we just created who can access what. Okay. So which IPs can access what. Okay. So that is what is defined. But if you want to go to the next level where you also want to define a security to this, so that's where the security groups will come into picture. Okay, so I will now associate a security group. First, I will create a security group, and then I will associate a security group to this. Again, there are from AWS point of view, there are if you want to introduce security to the networking layer, two solutions here. One is security groups, and the other one is network ACL. So network ACL and security groups. These again, exam point of view I'm telling. So these two are the tools for you to associate a security to the networking layer. Okay. So yeah, first let's create a security group. So I will tell you what is the difference between these two. So security uh, group. Security. So if we under security, there are two categories, right? Network ACS and security groups. So only these two are the helping tools for you to introduce security here. So far, whatever I wanted to create, I created. So, but I just want to tell, I want to introduce a more security layer to this, and telling what ports to enable and other things. So that is what we can achieve with using security group. So basically, in the security group, you you're going to create a new security group. I mean, by default, there will be a security group that is created. I just want to reuse this, and maybe I'll just create a new security group. Just I can give any name here. I can just giving again since we're following the my demo convention. I'm using _SC like security group. Okay, and here there are something called inbound rules and outbound rules. So this is where you tell um, uh, it will have rules in terms of security where inbound is like incoming connection, who can connect to this and who can take data from this, like outbound. So those two is what we define in security group. So here I'm creating a security rule here. I'm just showing edit rules here. And then here I'm telling, I'm restricting, currently if you look at all traffic is there. So what I'm trying to do is here, I'm instead of selecting this, I'm giving my IP. Instead of giving it to all, I'm just giving my IP. So if you look at this IP automatically populated. So this is my laptop IP, public IP. So it automatically came. So I'm basically instead of giving it to all, I'm just telling you can. I'm introducing a security rule saying that who can access this connection is all the connections that are coming from my IP can only can access it. I'm giving this rule. Yeah, just for it's a good practice to give a description because in enterprise there will be so many rules will be there and it will be difficult to understand what rule is for what. I mean, if you have so many records in this, so it's always good practice to give a description. Yeah, just give a template description, give me anything. So I'm just saving it. Now an inbound rule is created. Uh, Now next step is I'm going to yeah. So basically, I created an inbound rule telling only all the IPs coming from all the connections coming from my laptop only can access it. That is the only rule that I created. But in reality, you can create a lot of rules. Like TCP rule to UDP rule to lot of rules are there. So, but yeah, this is out of scope for our session. But I will explain a lot of this itself is a complex concept. So you need to yeah, the various combinations we can do here. For example, you can create a TCP rule and you can tell what TCP IPs can access your rule. And for example, SSH only can be enabled. So if you want, you can enable SSH only. So likewise, you can set a lot of rules here. Yeah, just keep it simple. I just using this. Okay, so that is security group. So this and now I'm going to create another network ACL as well. So the difference between security group and network ACL is that the security group is something restricted to instance level. Okay, again, very important exam question. They will give scenario and they will tell in the scenario what security rule where you will create this rule. So the questions will be around that. So just keep in mind that security group is created at instance level. From the name itself, you can say network ACL is one level above. I mean, at a network level, you can create the security rule. So that is the difference. So this is a higher level. This is lower level. Uh, say lower level at the instance level. Instance level is like you're telling what IPs and also these are all very instance level. Okay, but this is at a higher level. So at a network level. So security. So okay, now here what I'm going to do is, and here again I'm just going to edit this with my demo HCL. I guess here give some name so I can easily identify this, and then go to inbound rules. Yeah, here if you look at these rules in inbound rules, if you see there are some allow and deny. So this is where it is at a network level. It is telling all traffic from all sources can access it. So which is like it's kind of giving a global access to this network. Okay, but I want to restrict this. Again, I want to take my IP again. I want to give restrict access to only to my IP alone. So I'm just going to inbound rule and just going here to collect my IP alone. Okay. So coming to network layer, and then I'm going to inbound rule, and then telling here instead of source, I just want to give my IP alone. That's it. So what we did, so in this both this at instance level also I gave my IP, and network level also I gave my IP. So which means I can access this network only from my laptop only. So this is a security aspect which I introduced in this thing. Again, it's not mandatory. You can go with the default values. Like default is like uh, allow all and allow all. Here also is to allow all. I mean, since we modified to IP, but allow all. So zero was there before. So yeah, it is not required to configure this. There's a default value by default. It will be there, but it is always a good practice not to uh, ac- give access to everyone. So yeah, restrict it to your IP. Okay. So we completed that these optional steps, which are this create security group and the network ACL. So so with that, that completes your setup. So all these boxes are all complete. Now I'm going to create a EC2 instance, a Linux virtual machine under these two. I think this is similar to what we saw in our previous session, where we in the previous session we saw a Windows VM. This time, for a change, I'm trying to want to create a Linux VM. Uh, so there, I will tell this VPCs while I create this VM. So that is what the step which I'm going to see now.
Yeah, while Sham is trying to create the EC2, in summary, what we did was routing table, so that that is kind of telling you what could be routed. So that itself is kind of a firewall rule. But then there is a NACL, the NACL, right? That is a subnet level firewall rule, and in that you could specify this IP address range allow, this IP address range deny. So you could say allow and deny. These are all exam questions. So second level of firewall rules. Then if you want even stricter firewall rules on your specific instance, that is the security group. And in the security group you cannot deny or something. It's a bidirectional. When you say something in security group, when you say I allow this, you get the outbound as well. But in NACL you could specify it in both ways. So these are the three levels of firewalls rules that they have to give you more control on the software defined network thing.
Yeah, exactly. So now that I'm just going to create a Linux virtual machine now, uh, and I'm going to use the VPC that I created now in this process. So I'm just selecting only free tier only. Then I'm selecting Linux, this T2 micro, which is free tier eligible. Next, so if you look at this is where our networking comes into picture. So my demo VPC, which I created, it's selected by default. But if there are multiple, yeah, you need to the drop down. You need to select specific one. So this is where I'm selecting my VPC, and then I want to create the first VM. Yeah, I want to create this under the first VM I want to create in public subnet. So so in this, so I need to select this drop down and create public subnet. And here I'm telling to assign an IP automatically for this. Yeah, I think this all can be default. Okay, so the storage, I'm just going with all default values. Yeah, this is can be fine. All, I'm just going with all. Yeah, it comes again security group here. So here I want to use the security group that I created, the custom security group that I created. So this is so creating a new. I want to select an existing one, and this is where my existing group where I am giving access only to my IP, right? So this is a rule that I created. So if you look at all these are coming together in this VM creation. The VPC that you created, the public the subnets that you created, the security group that you created. So they're all coming here, right? So this VM creation. So then I'm doing and
So
launching it.
if you choose multi AC here, that means you get the, even if one AC goes down, you get the uh, uh, easily failover. You get, but you have to pay for it.
Yeah, and then I'm clicking launch. Here I want to use the existing kit that I created. Share launching. So now this is creating a Linux virtual machine under that public subnet and with the security group that we created. So in the meanwhile, while it is creating, it will take a couple of minutes. Let's create another VM. This will be under private subnet now. I'm just creating a launch instance again. Okay, free tier only. Select. Only difference compared to the previous is I'm going to change the subnet alone. Um, uh, so this time I'm going to create this private subnet um, and then enable it. I think rest all can be default. Here also same step, the same security group that I created. How do we get this thing prepare? So we created now two VMs. They're on the way. These are all not the Windows. These are all next VMs. But yeah, if you look at here, it is already running. So you can see our details that we created. For example, yeah, the security groups is the view inbound rules, view outbound rules. So and these are all the VPC ID that we created, the my demo VPC. So these are all associated to this now, right? So yeah, I'm just ensuring that it's all coming correct. The subnet is there, public subnet is there. So yeah, okay. So the point is now, so there's a public IP that is associated to this VM, right? So this uh, I just want to try to ping this IP. This a VM is created now, so I'm trying to access it. This is being a public under public subnet. So which means then I should be able to access it over internet. Or internet is like from my laptop is having internet. I'm just going to command prompt and I'm just doing a ping. And as long as if I get a result, then I could connect to this IP, right? So this ping is happening. So we're getting a reply. Okay. So which means it is accessible over internet. But whereas the other one, this is this instance is a private subnet, right? It is under private subnet. So I should be able to access, even though it's a public IP, I should be able to connect it. So let's see the same ping example for this. It says request timeout. So it couldn't ping like how it is able to ping in a public scenario. So it is restricted. So I can't access this from my public internet. So that is where this networking comes into picture. So the VM, we created a boundary to this VM, and we told it is a private network, and and I didn't associated the internet gateway here. So which means no internet to this. So which means I can't access it over internet. But whereas to this, I associated internet gateway, so which means it's a public network. So internet is accessible on this, and I can access it. So typically, generally, what in a multi-tier architecture, generally the databases will come under this private category, so that anyone can't access the IP address of your databases. So that is the idea. So just to keep it restricted. But whereas your website, final website, which is your front end, for example, so those will be hosted on a public network, so public subnet. So which means they will be accessible by this IP. So yeah, so this is what I want to show. So any doubts here?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
So one dumb question. Hopefully you may have an answer for this. In this case, is there a graphical view that AWS can provide to see how my network looks like, so that I can visualize and then build my security and access control rules?
Very good question. Actually, I've not seen this or encountered this. Vishnu, do you know the answer for this? By any chance, do you have any diagrammatical view?
No, actually, this is these are like a peeling onions, right? So the whole security and network, which were all hardware based on premise, has been translated into software defined network, software defined security. The way they are achieving it is like a different layers in the onion. The more you peel, routing table first, then the knackle, then the security group, blah blah blah. So there is no one big UI kind of a thing saying that okay, this is what your finale kind of a thing. No, you have to know the things. You should know where are the things to go and look at it. It is
But Sini, as you start creating, it becomes complex, right? So,
yeah,
to instance, you could remember what it is, but when you create for a company with the multiple OS and multiple database and multiple application servers,
yeah.
if you don't know, just like it's like a room layout, your blueprint. If you don't know what it is, I'm just asking the question here because as we get into more
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
complexity,
So
very good question.
the
Actually,
way
maybe
they are the way they are doing currently in my company right now, there is a group. They have the kind of a blueprint on their. They have a blueprint defined in the Excel spreadsheet. Frankly, they know this is the VPC. This is what the range for the VPC IP range. We have the three subnet. This is the subnet. So you should have a diagrammatic view somewhere. This tool, this AWS is not providing you that kind of a thing yet. They might eventually, but for now, it is that. But these guys are knowing it day in and day out because they are the security group and networking group. They were doing even hardware based things currently, and now they are trying to do similar way, but they are documenting it outside.
okay,
The
okay.
problem is it is
yeah,
tougher for us because see the thing is, as a developer and architect, we never cared for any of this crap. But now with this cloud, everybody has to know the security. Everybody has to know the networking. If you want to be a cloud guy, you have to get used to these things. So that means you are taking their jobs also. It is their specialty jobs is kind of like we are all knowing what they are doing also.
See, but in the common on-premise infrastructure, probably some of you may already know, is there are third-party tools which gives you this blueprint so that you visualize it and then you plan it accordingly. So when the things becomes large, it becomes very difficult to
That's right.
visualize it.
Yeah, I
Somebody
think.
can look at it.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't want to take
No, the
for that,
yeah,
but
AWS is bringing layers on layers on layers of tools. They are
okay,
going to do it, but right now it is not there.
okay. Thank you, Srini.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But sure, that is the definite requirement. So yeah, your point is really 100% true. So at this point, at least I have not seen any tools giving this information. But yeah, I will double check on this. Okay. So yeah, so I think we took a lot of time today. So time check. Okay, sorry. Yeah. So yeah, I think we can break logically at this point. Maybe I have a few more slides, but I think this is not the end of it. I mean, there are quite a few details which I want to cover. Uh, Maybe which I will explain
Yeah.
in the following session.
So Sham, only one thing is since you showed a public machine and public subnet machine and private subnet machine, there is a marriage between them. The way you go to the routing table for the private subnet and you say, okay, you allow the public subnet security group. So instead of just saying the IP address, you could even say, I want to allow these security groups people also can view me. So that means you are saying the public subnet security group can be allowed to go inside the private subnet thing. So then if you do that, if you go to the SSH to the public subnet, then from there you could go to the private subnet from telnetting one to the another, like a jump starting kind of a thing. So that is the
Yeah,
small link kind of a thing. But it's a great job, and this is one of the complex things, and you have guts to take it to the demo level. Yeah, I think I want to stop this video right now. Any other questions you guys have? If you want, I can record that. Otherwise, I will stop it.
That's a
Okay.
brilliant
No, I think
demonstration. Thank you, Sham.
it's
Yeah.
very
yeah.
good, Sham.
Thank you.
Thank you.